About 4 years ago, I interviewed the brilliant Sylvia Heberlein of the German volunteer organisation called Beach Cleaner. She illustrated just how bad the problem of beach waste was and taught me all about the incredible work that Beach Cleaner carried out around the world. And she also told me all about the founder of Beach Cleaner, a woman called Anne Kellner, formerly Anne Mäusbacher. The story stayed with me ever since, and when I decided to expand onto YouTube, I knew that I had to get back in touch with them. So today it's an absolute honour to present my good friend Christy Johnson, chatting with Anne Kellner of Beach Cleaner about the global problem of plastic waste.
So Anna, thank you. Welcome to the Unsustainable channel. It's absolutely wonderful to have you on here. It's an honour to be speaking with you today. So I think let's start off by talking a bit about you and your journey. You wear many, many hats. You do so much. You're a marketing expert, a coach, a yoga teacher, an environmental campaigner, and a beach cleaner. But what first inspired your deep need to protect the ocean and pursue marine conservation? Was there a tipping point or a moment where you thought, right, I'm going to pursue plastic-free living and I'm going to start Beach Cleaner? Because you started Beach Cleaner in 2015, didn't you? So was there a moment? What was that first moment that inspired you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone. So it's super to be back here on this platform. And some years ago, my colleague, I think she did the interview, Sylvia.
Yes.
She just got her second child.
Oh.
So we need to honor her, and I'm super blessed to be here instead of her. So yeah, I founded Beach Cleaner 10 years ago, and actually my yoga path brought me to this program or project, I would say, because I wanted to live a bit more mindful and also give something back to the planet. And I was a young mother. I mean, my son was 7 years ago, I think, and we had this really experience on Ibiza. It's an island in the Mediterranean Sea, and I have seen the amount of plastic, and it was growing, and we went there some years ago as well, and it was completely different, and I was wondering where this is coming from. And then intuitively, I just started to beach clean that area. And I was a bit annoyed because so many people, they were watching me and they didn't do anything, but they also have spotted that trash. So the cigarette butts and the single-use plastic and foils coming from the sea back to the beach. And I thought maybe there was an accident out in the sea because I was so naive. I didn't know anything about ocean pollution at all at this point of time. And then, it was really the very first moment or idea was really to inspire others to collect the trash. That's it. And of course, during the holiday, I did this every day on different beaches, and I experienced the same. No one was really helping. There was just one older woman. She was really acknowledging this and was saying, "That's great what you are doing, and that's cool." But she also didn't help. I mean, everyone was on holiday, the engagement rate was super low, and I wanted to change actually only this. I thought, okay, let's do this. How can we motivate other people to just do something 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day? Shouldn't be a big problem for everyone also in the holiday. And then we thought about this and discussed this in the evening. And I think we rented an apartment somewhere because we never go in a hotel. Actually, we go more in private places. And then we discussed it. What can we do? And then my husband was saying, let's check something, a good URL, a website, and we did it. So really on the second or third day in that holiday, we reserved beachcleaner.de without knowing anything at all. And then I thought, okay, I wanted to do something. I want to create a movement because I also knew in Germany it didn't exist. And I also thought that there might be trash, and we of course we have seen it already. Also the bus station, there's a lot of cigarette butts flying around. And in Germany, the people, they are not so conscious as everyone thinks or think of. They're actually not. But it also changed over the last years, I think, not for the better. But yeah, I wanted to do something, but the yoga way, the mindful living, giving something back to the planet, this was actually my driver to found Beach Cleaner. Yeah.
That's really, really inspiring. And how have you, so since 2015, when you started, what are some of the projects that you've partaken in that you were most, proud of? Have you seen any sort of shifts from when you started in 2015 as well?
So when we have started, I've seen a tremendous shift, and we got so many invitations, and I began to talk in public speaking in little communities, or also in bigger communities, and also for companies, they invited me to talk about it, and it got more and more. And at the beginning, I also didn't know what to talk about, but I was so interested, and I learned about marine litter in the night time after my normal job. So I worked full time at this point of time, and really I began a very deep research back in 2015 already. So immediately after going back from Ibiza, I was checking in the internet. Okay, ocean pollution, where's the plastic, and why it is in the ocean, and so on. And I didn't find a lot. I didn't find a lot in Germany, so on German pages or environmental pages. So, but I came up to the US, to the UN, United Nations, and there's a program. It's called Environmental Program, and they have written a lot about this topic. And I got so inspired and interested into this. And I was also a former diver, so I was familiar with with the ocean itself. Yeah, how does it look like under the surface and so on. And I also wanted to protect the animals and everything, and the . And then I dived deeper and deeper into this topic. And then there was a course, or maybe two months later, and there was a course, an open online course about marine litter, provided by the UN, United Nations, and also an environmental program, and the university in the Netherlands, in Maastricht. There's an online academy somehow, and they partnered up, and I could sign up there for free. And it was 4 or 5 months, a program, a self-learning program, but you also have to work with students together worldwide, which was also very inspiring. So there was someone from Canada and from Maldives in the program. It was super cool. And it was challenging to have meetings together because of the time difference. And I also could do this only in the evening, and so on, because they were real students, but I had to work during the day. But it was super inspiring, and we learned a lot about existing laws, and why is the plastic in the ocean. And the program, I think the main goal of the program was to inspire people like myself to do something to fight for the ocean, and to come up with programs, mitigation strategies, education programs, and so on. And I realized that there is no education program as I would love to have in Germany. Mm-hmm. And then in the course, I asked the group if I can take over the educational part, because there was someone doing the research and so on, and or defining target groups. And I was more into the content. And everything what we have learned so far from the program, I pulled into an education program for kids. So it's Kids for the Ocean. It's my book. I don't know if you can see this.
Yes.
So it exists in English and in German. And after finishing the course, I pulled everything in a book form. And I thought, it's almost done, but it wasn't. And I was writing on this book, I think for more than another 15 months, to make it really ready to be published. And I found also someone to publish it for me. This was really also by accident. I gave a talk, and they asked me, what's next? And I said, I want to publish a book, but I don't know how, and I don't have the money, and so on. And then they said, we do this with you. They were so inspired by my talk. And then I was really so thankful. I said, my God, that's energy. That's that's super cool. And and then everything has started. And in German, I have reworked the book quite often. So it's the 6th reworked edition already. In the UK, it's the same, but I mean, from the content, it's more or less the same. It's just the figures has changed. Became worse, the amount of ocean pollution in the sea. So it's unfortunately, the figures are increasing still, even if everyone knows that plastic is really, it's killing us. It's killing the planet, the people, the animals, because it's everywhere in the air. It's in our blood. It's in our bodies, in the brain. You can find it everywhere. So, and this is also, I think, very important and part of my education program, that the people, and as I want to bring across that plastic is so harmful for the environment, for us. It's killing us, and it's influence our way of living and how we evolve as humans. And the people, they don't know this, because in the average, I don't know if you know this, but you heard it, I think, per week, everyone eats a credit card of
I've
plastic.
heard this. It's very
So
concerning.
every human, yeah. And it's really, that's horrible. I mean, it's not for me, I'm pretty sure, because we discuss this later, because we avoid plastic where we can. It's not easy, but we do a lot of stuff we create stuff, like household cleaning products and so on. And I really also I want to avoid touching plastic. Of course, I have a mobile phone. Yeah, this is the only thing I have constantly in my hand, more or less. This is also horrible. But everything else in my house, it's in wood or other materials or stone, or in glass. We have a lot of stuff in glass, also from cosmetics, but also my kitchen is, everything is more or less in glass. There is no plastic container at all. But it's the mobile phone, it's the computer, it's other things. It's in the public area. You have a lot of plastic stuff and so on. That's why it's But what it does. So the plastic pollution in general, with the humankind and the evolution, this is really I want to bring across and tell the people, because there is no school program at all in Germany, at least. And they have eco days, they have cleanups now, but to understand the full picture, I thought it's important to come up with a program, and this is the book, Kids for the Ocean.
Oh, that's very impressive. I mean, I did come across your book, and I haven't read it, but I'm planning to, because I found out that I can buy it in the UK. So I'm very excited to sort of learn about that. And I suppose, so with your book, the key learnings from that, one half of it's to educate kids and families about the importance of the ocean, why we need the ocean, the seriousness of plastic pollution. But then also the other half are their key learnings that people can take from that, and skills, things that they can implement easily in their day-to-day life. Is that sort of the way the key takeaways of that book?
Yeah, so it's really the book should inspire action. So to do something to create something by yourself, like avoiding buying everything. You can also think about I can reuse something, or I could do something at home, without buying, with natural ingredients, so that the people or the reader, the kids as well, but also the parents and the teacher, that they're inspired to do something on their own. They buy just the ingredients, which are also cheaper, and they're reusing glass container, for example, or even old plastic container. They can also reuse for household cleaning products. But it's so easy. If you start once, you will never stop this, because even if you're traveling, you can do this everywhere. Or if you move to another country, you can take this transformation. I call it transformation as well. It's so easy, and you feel free. It's so freeing. I go now in the drugstore, and I just take the little things I need to do something for my own creation. In the past, I bought everything, from plastic diapers to cleaning stuff I don't need and so on, or de-makeup whatsoever. So, and I bought a lot of stuff I don't need at all. And I want to inspire the people to do the same, also to save money, to feel free. It's a bit like being a rebel because you say no to all this commercial stuff, and I'm a rebel. Yeah, so this is what I want to achieve with the book and with the education program. And there's a lot in the book about, of course, about the ocean. What is it? How big is the ocean? How many oceans do we have? How big are the plastic continents? Because this is also new for some people still, also for the older generation. They just don't know this. And they also feel they don't need to change because there's a younger generation, they can take over, but it's not. So everyone has to do this. And I have many discussions also with older people about this because it's not so easy to convince them and transform them. So for the kids, it's easy. They want to really save the world and the planet after that, reading the book or listen in my talk. So it's with the younger generation, it's pretty cool, I have to say. Teenager, it's also not so easy because, of course, my son is a teenager now, and he also wants to buy things, hygiene products, or for hairstyling stuff, and this is all in plastic. And sometimes I let him, of course, because I can't stop everything. But he's aware of it. He's aware of it, and it's not cool. And I hope I can inspire the generation as well, because they are the next students. They can come up with alternatives with other materials. They can drive, hopefully, and inspire also the industries, like the plastic producing industries, to come up with other materials. So it's also to inspire the next generation that they don't forget it, because if they understand why we need to protect the sea because of the oxygen generation, for example, so every second breath is coming from the ocean, things like this. If I explain this, why it's so important to have a healthy ocean, then they understand, and they can relate to the changes they have to be done.
That's so true. I mean, I don't think people realize actually how much we depend on a healthy ocean for our own health, how connected we are to these natural systems. I think our UK broadcaster, David Attenborough, and biologist, he's released a new film, which I think's coming out next week. It's already been in cinemas here in the UK. It's called The Ocean. And I think he says something like, if we save the sea, we save the world, which I think is so true. And I wonder, like, 'cause in your book, you talk about the ocean, but for listeners here on Unsustainable, I think it would be great to just go over why we need a healthy ocean. Like, what are the reasons? How are we so connected to the ocean? Why do we need a healthy ocean for us to thrive?
Yeah. So the most important thing is really the oxygen generation. So the oxygen we breathe, we need to survive, and it's coming from the ocean. So it's not only the rainforest, but it's also coming from the ocean. And also the CO2 it's cleaned by 30% by the ocean. So this is also a cleaning function. The ocean has a cleaning function. It's not only generating the oxygen we need, but it's also really cleaning the air, the very polluted air, and it's getting worse and worse. And there's already, you can measure it in the ocean. There's how do you say that? It's a acidification, I think.
Yes, I think
call
so.
it. So that there's and this is due to the CO2 and many other polluting factors, which are already, of course, touching the ocean. So the ecosystem is very fragile now. And I can also repeat what Captain Paul Watson, the former founder from Sea Shepherd, has said. So if the ocean dies, we die. So it's similar to what you just said before. And I'm saying this quite often because I work with Sea Shepherd together, and I did this in the past, and they also helped me to come up with my movement a little bit. So they inspired me heavily. And there are many other organizations. So I'm of course not the only one. There's also the Surfrider Foundation on the coast, also in the UK and also in France. Because we've been quite often to France, to the Atlantic coast, and also in Morocco. I've done my very first ocean school together with the Surfrider Foundation, because they're based there, and it's easier to have, of course, a reliable partner. In Africa, you can't do this as a woman alone. You are not accepted, unfortunately. So you need a partner over there also to enter a school. Someone else helped me there. It was actually a student organization that helped me. And these kind of collaborations, they are very important, and then transport the same message to why it is important to protect the ocean, so that we all transport the same message. All initiatives and all organizations. It's the oxygen, and it's also the food. The fish. The fish. So it's a source for food for some countries. Yeah, for all these the island states and the coastal areas. They are depending on a healthy sea because of the food. Of the fish, and also from an economical point of view, they are selling the food, the fishes all around the globe. And it's contaminated with plastic. We know this already. This is also one of the reasons I don't eat fish anymore since a couple of years, and also no meat. So I'm more or less vegan since a couple of years. So I stopped eating meat for ethical reasons before I founded Beach Cleaner. I thought I can do this. Why not? There are so many other alternatives in Germany. And I think on Ibiza then, so it's 10 years minimum, I avoid also eating seafood because of the plastic. And also there's not a lot of seafood anymore in the sea. There's overfishing, overconsumption. So we are taking everything from the planet. And this is for me something everyone can do. So these are the little things we can change. Yeah. And especially in Europe, we have other sources. There are other countries that are super depending on the fish. And Maldives, they don't have a glass house, they don't have cucumber growing or tomatoes over there where they have to eat what's there. But we don't need this mass production and mass consumption and shipping around the globe. So this is something I think everyone can really consider and also change, and focus more on the local food. So what's there? What can I eat? Produced in my own country. Yeah, to avoid all these shippings and these production costs. And yeah, I think this is something everyone can understand and also easily start to change.
Yes, exactly.
If you really take it serious.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
if you really want to take it serious.
It's hard at first, because I think it can feel like, especially in terms of the plastic and how reliant we are, it feels like we are as a society, as I think a lot of people are wanting to make more sustainable choices, but it can sometimes feel you can feel quite powerless in a system that it's still so flooded with plastic, food systems which still prioritize overconsumption of products. But I think the fact that you're creating books like Kids for the Ocean, these educational resources these frameworks are so useful for the individual to kind of feel more empowered. But I think I'd love to get a sense from you, what are your sort of top 3 tips, I suppose, for somebody who is just starting out on this journey?
Yeah, it's really shop local produced stuff and without packaging if possible. So maybe there's a market and you buy the fresh stuff there and bring your own container, for example. This is something I think even if you buy a sandwich, in the UK, I know there's a lot in London, and I've been there for work quite a lot, and it's horrible. Everything is packaged and so on. It's insane. And I think you can avoid this. You bring your own container, or eat it directly. I don't know. And this is something you can do also during travels, wherever you are, you can do. So really try to buy something locally produced, to avoid the packaging and also to save resources. Then the second thing is do it yourself. Try to start doing household cleaning, which you can do in 30 seconds for, I don't know, a third or even less the money. So you spend money. It's just, you need to start. It's at the beginning it feels uncomfortable, but it's not. It's freeing. It's so freeing after you have done it and you're proud. You're so proud and you're making a video. You put it on Insta. Yeah, I have done it and I can inspire you. And you know what we have done, for example, these typical birthday parties where everything comes wrapped in plastic packaging, but also as a parent, you feel you have to give the kids something when they're leaving the party, a leaving present. But we haven't done this. So everything was in paper, was maybe a self-drawing thing, or it was also all in paper. And we have done also toothpaste together.
Oh, wow.
And it was super fun because it was an activity and you can do, and they loved it. And then they could immediately also try it.
That's
And
amazing.
we showed them the bamboo tooth and brush and so on. They also got one. And also, when my son was younger, these were also the birthday gifts we gave to the kids. Yeah, it was always a bamboo toothbrush, and also self-made toothpaste, which is made out of coconut, natron, so baking soda, and peppermint essential oils, for example. That's it. Yeah,
Amazing.
and he is so and he is we don't have any issues with the teeth. So also our dentist, he's pretty convinced. And there's no other chemicals in there. This is also everything what we are doing. We know exactly what's in there. We know the ingredients, and they are natural ingredients. They are not harmful for the environment, but also not for ourselves. And this is something, this is maybe then the third or fourth point, get to know the ingredients from everything you buy in the supermarket, drugstores, whatever. Be interested in what you're consuming actually. So which kind of chemicals are in there, also in the food, if you have processed food or whatsoever, or also hygiene products. Get interested in the ingredients, really dive into it, and you easily understand it, because all the words you don't understand, they are chemicals, like acid or acryl and so on. So this is not good actually, and this is also what I, for example, tell the teenagers in my school talks, because they for them it's easier to understand than a 6-year-old, but because they are interested in buying a lot of hygiene products and cosmetics, and this is quite often really is toxic stuff they put on their face, if it's a face scrub, or also for the nails. Yeah, also there is so many toxic stuff out there, which is that's really a shame that they are allowed to sell these kind of products to the world actually.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I think we live in a plastic world, but we also live in a very toxic world. Plastics, they are made from chemicals. Like we've got so many ultra processed foods. Even the clothes that we wear are synthetic, and they're shedding microplastics. And studies have shown that we're potentially absorbing microplastics and chemicals into the skin from the clothes that we're wearing, from the environment around us. It's very concerning. And I think in terms of microplastics in the ocean, for example, there's trillions of them apparently, like sort of settling on the surface of the ocean, untold trillions sort of in the deeper depths of the ocean. Microplastics, as you were saying earlier, plastics are in the air, they're in our food, they're shedding from our clothes, and they've even been found in the human body, in the human brain, the placenta, and one of the main pathways, they say, is through the skin and dermal exposure. And I just wonder, because obviously you are striving, and I think you're being very successful at leading a plastic-free life, which is so inspiring. But of course, microplastics are they are everywhere. And I wonder how you sort of,
Yeah.
because I know I struggle with this, and I can kind of become quite anxious by this fact that microplastics are pretty much found everywhere on Earth. How somebody that's trying to lead a plastic-free
Yeah.
life, how do you cope with that reality that there are microplastics everywhere? And because it just feels it feels like we can't really control that. I don't think that there's a
Yeah.
way to actually extract microplastics from the environment, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I suppose as somebody who is campaigning for a plastic-free life, how do you cope with that reality of microplastic?
I think it's really shocking if you hear something like this, and it's sometimes I also feel, does it do anything what we are doing? But I can't stop, and I'm so convinced, because I think the amount of plastic in my body is definitely less than from a normal person who's not educated or is not aware of all these alternatives you can do. And so because you can measure the plastic in your body, I haven't done
I
this,
didn't
but
know that.
do you, yeah, do you know Emily Penn? She's actually from the
No,
UK.
no, I don't.
Emily Penn, you can,
I
yeah,
will look
and she
her
also
up.
I met her also. Yeah, she's great, and she also founded Shift. It's also not only a consulting or coaching organization. It's also because she has done also awesome stuff. She traveled the world in a boat, and because she wanted to avoid the CO2 consumption whilst traveling and so on. And she's actually an architect, but she lives a completely different life now. She's also a speaker. She's super cool, and she measured the amount of plastic in her body. You can do this. It's costly, but you can do this. And after 4 weeks, they have done the same tests again. And during the 4 weeks, she really tried to avoid touching plastic, eating non plastic wrapped food and things like that. And also, of course, the chemicals and on the skin. And she really tried to avoid it where she can. And you could see it. You could see it in the test, in the blood tests. And I think you can detox your body. You can clean it. So it's in the body, yes. It's also in the brain. I can't imagine how it comes out of the brain again. But it's the same. For example, if you do a colon detoxing, for example, they can be cleaned in your body, apparently. So I think that's possible.
Wow.
And everyone can start from tomorrow. Yeah, you can start from tomorrow. Because you really know, I don't buy anything, no food in plastic anymore. Yeah. For example, there's also some vegetables you can. My dog. Sorry, there are some vegetables, and you can. It's, I don't know. There's
Is
a
she
sound.
okay?
Yeah. There are some vegetables you can also get in glass, for example, yeah, in a glass container. And from time to time, I also don't have the time to buy something fresh always, so I have something, some for the emergency at home, but in glass, yeah. And I don't buy this in plastic at all. And I think if you start looking, if you're in a supermarket, if you really try to see the alternatives, or also think about how can I avoid waste in general, yeah, then it helps you to kickstart your new way of living. And this is also the amount of plastic in your body, which would then increase, decrease, yeah, when you start a plastic reduced living. So it's not, I wouldn't say my life is plastic free now, because it's getting worse and worse, because we had so many zero waste stores in Germany. They are almost all closed again after the pandemic, unfortunately. Because it was very easy to buy for us, pasta, rice, and all this dry food, cereal, and so on in these big containers, and you stored everything in glass at home, but in non-plastic. So it was never in plastic, and we lived really, I think 3 or 4 years, we lived completely like
Wow.
this. And everything was structured. So every second week I went to the special stores, and the other days I went to the supermarket and bought, which I still do, the unpackaged vegetables or fruits. So that there's always another option. I still do this, of course. I go to the discounter because there's also no other options here. But I don't buy anything in plastic, I have to say. It's very seldom that I buy something, maybe, a cleaner, or I don't know if there's something really to clean, a hardcore cleaner, which is then in plastic package, but that's it. So yeah, there are so many alternatives, and even in the UK, there are, I think, way more alternatives as in Germany.
Yes.
But as also going back to the grandmother's time, I think you can get creative or just speak to the grandparents. They have so many great alternatives, and also which helps you to save money as well, because they have done a lot in the past by themselves, or they just have avoided it as well,
That's so
in
true.
the first place.
Yeah, and there's a huge
Yeah.
economic argument. I think if you go plastic free, as you say, you are actually saving money in the long run. I mean, I've completely
Yeah.
stopped buying plastic cleaning products like you, and I just make up a natural solution. I think something that my grandma used to make up, like very sort of natural, simple ingredients like lemon and white vinegar, and I just pop a bit of essential oil in there in a reusable little glass bottle. And it feels, as you say, it
Awesome.
feels so liberating, and also just the idea that I'm not touching plastic, I'm not breathing in chemicals whenever I clean, which is every week. So that feels really good, and I think it's just about, from my own experience, just having that patience, and because it does take time to adapt and change, especially in a system that is so against all of that and is still so for single use and overconsumption. But I think if you're patient and if you just keep being consistent with it, I think there is a way, as you say, to kind of slowly switch out your day-to-day products and routine for something more plastic free and more sustainable. And it's a money saving exercise too, which is obviously a great thing. So Anna, what I would love to sort of get your thoughts on, because you mentioned your trip to Morocco with Beach Cleaner, wasn't it? And I know that Germany is sort of seen as a global leader in plastic recycling, but like many countries in the so-called global north, a lot of, I think, plastic waste is exported to places like Morocco. And I think, was that one of the reasons why you went to Morocco, to sort of understand why that is? And I think it would be great, just to sort of talk about your experiences in Morocco more, and maybe give us an understanding of what you learnt about this big issue. Because it isn't just Germany. A lot of countries do export their rubbish, and it would be great for, I think, viewers and myself to really understand from your perspective why that's happening, and what you learned from your time in Morocco.
Yeah. So first of all, my friends, they live there. They have a surf and yoga house, Blue Mind in Morocco, close to Agadir, and they asked me to come and organize a cleanup, a beach cleanup. They are already very conscious, and they're doing cleanups every month, I think, with the guests, because there is so much plastic at the beach. And of course, if you go surfing all together, you see it. Yeah, it's really, you can't believe it if you're not there. And for me, it was the first time going to Morocco, and I thought, okay, let's do this. And I organized this together to go there with my son, and have a combination with surfing, yoga, and having a great time with my friends and so on. And then I realized, okay, what do we do with the waste, with the collected waste then? And I had to plan it somehow. And then I started to plan, and then it was more or less easy for me to find a partner there. It was the Surfrider Foundation. They're still there, and they helped me to organize the cleanup and also to organize the pickup of the collected waste then afterwards. And we have done together also an educative part after collecting maybe 1 hour in the heat, because it was close to 40 degrees. We also did a trash analysis. And you can see some images of the great ocean school. We called it Ocean School on Instagram. And there's also video. I brought friends of mine. They have done a video over there, and it was awesome. Yeah, it's because I wanted to capture the ocean school. For me, it was a milestone to go to Morocco, because of course it was, I think, only the second time being in Africa in general. And as I also want to avoid having all these air travels and so on, it wasn't, I hadn't planned it, yeah. But I had many requests from other countries in Africa, like Kenya and Tanzania. They also wanted to do something with us, but they are already so educated also in other countries in Africa, so they don't need my experience and my knowledge, because they have it. I think they just want to do it together, which was also super nice, because it's it's inspiring and motivating to do it together with other organizations. And what we have seen there is really it's a lot of plastic coming back from the ocean. And yes, there is it's official that Europe sends the waste to Morocco, to these poorer countries, because they just don't know what to do with it in the countries in Europe. We have a small recycling industry, which is not really helping a lot, and not really driving the circular economy. So this is the other thing. We have to push the circular economy, because if we rely on recycling, we don't go anywhere. It doesn't make sense. And that's why the countries, the educated countries like Germany and maybe also the UK, I don't know, they sell them waste to the poorer countries. And seeing this there, because I visited a landfill there, they receive the rubbish and then they burn it. It's horrible. And I was in there. So my friend, my local friend Khalid, he showed me one of these landfills, and it's horrible. It's you sink in it, and there's since years they transport the local waste, but also of course the waste from Europe, and from time to time they just burn it. And it's horrible, really. It's horrible, and it's stinky. And if you enter the landfill, you can see, all these olive vines, olive trees. They have the plastic bags hanging there. It's really a path to the landfill. Yeah, it's really, and then I thought, okay, I need to go there with a bigger film team, yeah, to film this. But I think someone has done it maybe already, because it's unbelievable. I mean, even in the desert, you can see the plastic in the argan trees, in the olive trees. You can see the plastic everywhere in the trees, because there are not so many trees, and that's why it's so you see it in every tree, and in the bushes, and there are not so many because it's a very dry country. Yeah, so this was really super shocking, and I've been there twice, because it was so successful, because we invited the local communities to join, also of course the surf house, and then the organization we worked with for the first time also brought people, and there was also a student organization from Agadir, from medical students, I think, and they helped me then when I went back in November. They helped me to go into a school, because this was also one of my dreams, to visit a school in Morocco or in Africa, and to give a talk and speak about us, more like motivate them or inspire them what one person can achieve, because they have the waste around them, they can see it, but they have another understanding. It's a completely culture change or shift, or a culture thing in general. They see it, they live with it. Some of them, they never go to the beach because they can't swim. So they just don't see the waste placed close to the beach or the ocean. So because they don't go to the beach in some villages, and also at the Maldives, the people there, they don't go, they can't swim. Yeah, they stay inside the island, the locals, and that's why they push all the waste out closer to the sea, which is horrible, of course. I also have seen this, because I joined also an eco boat, I would say, an eco trip for 1 week in the Maldives, only to collect plastic trash. And this was also very interesting to see the local challenges and what they do actually at the end of the day with the trash. And yeah, most of the trash gets burned, and it's super, of course, harmful for the environment, CO2 intense, and so on. There's no filter; it's really the open air. And there must be a glass recycling center in Agadir, but I didn't have the time to visit it there. But this is the only thing I've heard exists there. So they have these countries. They take they take the waste and also the money, our money, because Europe has to pay for it. But they have no solution. There is no solution at all. And there are also countries like Ghana. It's a bit more south in Africa, south from Morocco. They have a huge waste problem as well. There is textiles floating the beaches and the coastal areas, and they're really drowning in textile and plastic waste. It's horrible. It's sad to see. But this is also part of our consumption, of the European consumption and maybe the global consumption, because it ends up there in those countries. It's similar to areas in Thailand and Malaysia, but also China. But they have stopped now. But I don't know if it's really true. They have stopped the import of waste from other countries.
Okay.
I've written also in my book about this, but it's not really transparent. I followed a lot of recycling talks and panel discussions online during the pandemic as well, and get to know more of these challenges from other countries. It was super interesting. There was also a woman from Turkey. She said there are tons of containers in the harbor of Istanbul, and the Turkish government says no, we don't want this trash from other countries, but it's there in the harbor, and no one knows what to do with it, and they can't send it somewhere back. This is really a very bad business, what's happening there, not really transparent, but we have laws. There actually existing laws, and the countries needs to follow them, but no one is controlling it, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
The problem. There is no controlling function.
It's such a linear rather than circular system.
Yes.
I think environmental charity Greenpeace, they said something like there's no place for plastic in a circular economy, because they say actually, because I think it's only about 9% of plastic that is recycled, and then the rest is sort of dumped, sent to countries abroad. But even apparently the plastic that is recycled, it apparently becomes more toxic when you do recycle it. So organizations like Greenpeace are saying that there's no place for plastic in a circular economy. And I just wondered, from your point of view, do you agree, and what do you think is the solution to circularity? Because I don't think that recycling, or this current system of dumping plastic in other countries, obviously it's not working. What do you think is the solution to a circular economy where plastic is concerned?
So we first of all, we need alternatives to plastic, but and they exist actually, but they are more expensive, because plastic is the most cheap material you can get and easy to produce, made out of fossil fuels and so on. But this needs to stop. We need to really consider alternative materials which are easier to recycle. But coming back to the recycling question in general, I think there are really not a lot of great ideas to recycle plastic. Because even if you plaster streets with plastic, this causes microplastic again and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff in the environment which has been recycled, but it sheds microplastic then from this new place. Or this is so insane, and I'm wondering why this can happen at all, because it's not an innovation, it's a drama, and if you can do this, if you're allowed doing this, to bring plastic back in the environment, and then it sheds this microplastic, so there are not many alternatives, I would say. Also the textile industry, we also avoid buying polyester, and we go to secondhand places first. There are so many great secondhand platforms where you can also find luxury products made out of cotton, old stuff, which is super cool. Yeah, you can live with this. Yeah. I think we are an eco family, but we are not uncool from the look and feel. We find so many great stuff on secondhand platforms and markets as well. There are also really secondhand furniture. How do you say this? So resellers, if you buy or if you have to buy furnitures, you can also get so many great stuff. Sometimes also from the 70s plastic, but it still stays in a household.
Yeah.
If you're looking the Eames chairs, for example, they're made out of plastic, but they're so long lasting. Yeah, they stay forever. But coming back to the recycling industry, and I mean, it's an effort. The industry, also the bottle industry, yeah, they have to do something. They have to come up with solutions, but it's not healthy. It's not, I think, also not environment or economic, from an economical point of view, not super intelligent. I don't have the answer. But if you have take back systems, like using glass or also reusing clothing, reusing a lot of stuff, this helps already to decrease the production of anything new. But of course, the companies, the brands, the industries, they don't want this. They want to produce. Yeah? They want to make money, and this is the mindset shift. This needs to happen on a completely different, other higher level, because there's no way out. If they don't stop the production in general, there is no way out of this crisis.
Yes, because it's in their best interest, oil producing nations like Saudi Arabia, Russia, China. It's in their best interest to continue to produce plastic. So they are promoting things like waste management and recycling as the ultimate solution. But as you say, it's not the solution, and it needs to be a complete mindset shift. We are in this sort of ultra consumerist world, but I think once you take a step back from it, you kind of realize, well, actually, I don't need all this stuff. I try and spend as much time, away from the shops as I can, and sort of in nature. I love, walking and yoga and things like that. And it's just especially yoga. I know that yoga's been a real shift in your life, it's really shifted my mindset on a lot of things, and really like what we need as human beings to be happy, and buying and consuming more stuff isn't it. So I think it is a mindset shift, and I think people are starting to wake up to it. I really do think that. And I think, as you say, with the younger generation, I think they're already so open to that change. So I have a lot of hope. And especially speaking to people like yourself, it just, it brightens my day. And I just think that if there's people like you in the world, then I think the world will be a better place. So it's wonderful to get your perspective on things. And I suppose then, to round off our talk today, I think it would be great to sort of hear from you any upcoming, events or initiatives you have planned, especially with Beach Cleaner. Is there anything on the horizon that we should be keeping a lookout for?
Thanks for asking this. So we have blogging initiatives, local blogging initiatives here together with some companies. I try to involve the corporate world a little bit because they're seeking for programs for their employees. And that's a nice thing to combine this. So we have vloggings. So this is running and collecting plastic trash for the ones who are not familiar with vlogging. Then we have for the World Cleanup Day in September, we have a huge cleanup in Hamburg together with other partners as well, and also one of my sponsors. And usually we do this in my hometown here, but we have done it the last years, and I also think I'm open to go somewhere else. And it's close to the sea, so we have a huge river, the Elbe. So because most of the time or all the time we are close to the water, because we want to avoid the plastic entering the waterways as well. So we will try to clean the river and have also an educational part. I have also a social media campaign from my hometown here. So they asked me to be an ambassador. To encourage people to engage with anything. It doesn't have to be plastic. It can also be something else. So I also won a prize about my engagement in general. And I thought, okay, let's do this campaign together. Maybe we can encourage people, we can motivate them and so on. And I like seeing this. So this will start soon, I think, next or this month even. And also one of my sponsor, they are also planning a social media campaign with me where I can also show how to do my grocery shopping, how to do household cleaning products by myself, and going into this direction of plastic-free living or plastic-reduced living. So I really like doing this, and it's a new format because they will film me in short reels, I think. And I love doing this anyhow. So I'm doing a social media course at the moment to create a better reels, to have a wider audience. And I really like doing this kind of creation part. And so and I think that we are open to other things as well. I would love to do another ocean school somewhere. And I will never stop my movement and my initiative. And we grow from there.
Well, we shall certainly watch this space, as they say. Anna, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you and to connect with you, to learn from you. It's so inspiring, and just thank you for taking the time again to speak to us today. And we can't wait to keep following your work and see you continue to change the world and make a positive impact. So thanks so much, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you for interest.